What's going on, man? How you doing today?
All right, pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just blessed to see another one.
Okay, for sure, for
How
sure.
you doing?
What I'm doing good, man. We had a great dinner today, man. We had some roast beef with the
Okay,
carrots and potatoes, some cornbread, cabbage, and mac and cheese, man. So I'm feeling pretty good,
that's what
bro.
I'm saying. I'm feeling good too, man. Just got done eating a little steak and pasta.
That's what's up. You can't never go wrong with some steak and pasta or roast beef. You can't go wrong with either one, man.
Exactly.
For sure, man. How was the first week of school last week for the baby girl?
Oh man, it was good. It was good. Her mom, called me all emotional and stuff because she didn't need help getting dressed and all this kind
Yeah,
of stuff. And you know,
for
so
sure.
it was good. How was it? Do your kids have they already started?
Yeah, they started on Thursday. So
Okay.
this week will be the first full week.
Yeah.
But I think that was good, man. I think it was good just to kind of ease them back into it with just 2 days. But
Yeah.
then this week right here, we got to hit it, man. Monday through Friday.
Exactly.
For sure, man. So speaking of kids, I think a great topic would be for us to talk about how we are saving and investing for our kids' futures.
Mhm.
And I say let's do it, man. If you want to do that, let's do it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite
Okay.
topics, man.
Okay, for sure. So, what's one of the first questions or key points that you would like to get into on this topic?
I think one of the first things, since we've been kind of talking, financial literacy, each of these Money Matter episode. Do you think financial literacy should be taught in school?
Absolutely. I think it should be. Now, I don't know if it ever will be included in the curriculum because I think that I'm not going to say what's included in the curriculum is not good. I'm not going to say that the things that are being taught K through 12, I'm not going to say those things are not important. But I feel like if financial literacy was taught in K through 12, I feel like with students being set up for that financial success in the school system, it would take away from investments that are made later in life to go to college that ends up getting people in a lot of debt. It would save a lot of people from going out to get crazy APR, crazy interest rates on cars and credit cards. So I feel like if those things are taught in school, a lot of people would be losing money by teaching that. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if it'll ever be included, but I definitely think it should be taught.
yeah. I know. That's exactly how I feel, man. It's a lot of profits in the ignorance. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a lot of these companies, man. They have line items in their balance sheet to account for how much they're gonna collect in overdraft fees.
That's
Like, you know what
crazy.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, they're already counting on people not making payments or having a
Exactly.
bad credit score and like charging
Yep.
them. So like that's how I feel. I really do. I think if financial literacy was actually taught in schools, man, it probably would keep more people out the streets. Cause it's
Exactly.
like, something I've been heavy into lately is just day trading, right? So it's
Right.
like, to sit there and flip, $1,000 into 5,000, seven
Right.
thousand, 10,000
Right.
in a day.
Right.
It's like, why I need to go in the streets and flip a brick? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. And then to add to that point, it would also keep a lot of people out of going to work in a factory. You know what I mean? Because I did both.
Mhm.
When we graduated high school, I tried to hang around in the streets, get a little money in my pocket, but I already knew that was a dead end. So I knew like this is not it. I can't do this. So then the next thing I'm like, well, let me go work at the Kia plant. Let me go work in one of these factories.
Yeah.
But you get in that job at 17, well not 17, you get in that job at 18, 19, and then next thing you know people are stuck there for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, man. And so I think it would keep them out of the streets, and it would also keep them out of factories. And I'm not talking down on it, I'm not saying that's a bad job, but I know a lot of people are unhappy when they're working jobs like that because I've been there. I hope I didn't cut out, man.
Oh,
I've been there. I've worked in factories, and like you said, being, and now I'm not flipping the 1,000 into five yet, but I see it happen and I see the possibility. And man, would you like to elaborate on that a little bit, or do you just want to talk specifically about like just setting the kids up for their futures.
We could just talk more about the kids, and then we can kind of get into that
Okay,
on
for
a further
sure.
episode, future episode.
For sure. Okay, so a question I have is, what are some of the most popular savings or investment accounts that you recommend people look into to set their kids up for their futures?
Yeah, yeah. And so this isn't true financial advice, but um, one thing I really like is the custodial account or the UTMA account. So in that, so you got that, that's one vehicle. Then you have a 529 plan.
Yep,
So you normally get that through a job, and that's usually employer sponsored. And
for sure.
but the limitations with that though, you have to use it for like college and stuff, right?
For sure.
So, if you got a job that offer that, hey, go for it. Just
Hmm.
double up, like get that and a custodial account.
For sure.
So in the custodial account, you control that. You put stocks and ETFs, and you could trade options and stuff in it too.
Yeah.
So you get, and it's all, tax deferred, or all that kind of stuff. So I got additional tax benefits with it too. Um, but I like definitely the custodial account and the 529 plan.
Honestly, those are my top two as well.
Mhm.
And I believe there are more out there, but I'm glad you spoke of those two because I'm invested in both as well. Like each of the kids have their custodial account. I got those set up through E-Trade, and then I actually manage their portfolios. And then I have the 529 plans for the girls because I started those when they were, I think I started them, man, when they were around like 2 or 3 years old. And
Yeah.
now for DJ, with DJ being 16, DJ doesn't have a 529 plan, but he has his custodial account, and then he has a regular savings account, and then either myself or Coco could always transfer our Montgomery GI bill.
Yeah.
But I learned something new about the 529 plan early this year. Matter of fact, I always thought it could only be used for college. But then I did some more reading last year and I realized it can be used for any K through 12 related expense. And then to take it a step further, I realized you actually can pull money out of your 529 whenever you get ready. And they have what's called a qualified expense and a non-qualified expense.
Mhm.
Now, they didn't ask for proof what I was going to use the money for when I pulled it out. But I do believe it's something that I would have to show proof of when I file my taxes coming up in 2025. But I actually pulled out a little money and just paid for Melody and Harmony's after school care for the whole year this year
Yeah.
because I realized I could use it K through 12. And I'm like, man, they both got a few thousand sitting there. Instead of me pulling this out of my paycheck every week, let me just go ahead and pull it from over here, pay it for the whole year. Now, I'm not telling you all that you have to go out and pull, but just think if you could be in that position to where
Mhm.
your kids got enough money already saved and invested that instead of you having to account for that in your weekly or bi-weekly budget, you can just pull a little bit from what's already invested for them and then put it back later. Or you could pull from that 529 and put some in that custodial account because I did that. I put a little bit in the custodial account as well because I'm like, okay, I see the 529 is bringing it back about 12 to 14%, but over here in the custodial, we getting 25 to 30%. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry if that was too much for those out there listening. I know I'm not as advanced as Paul when it comes down to trading and investing, but I've learned a lot from him. And so if I threw any of y'all for a loop, or if he throws y'all for a loop at any time with some of these things he's talking about, just take the time to go look into these things and go research those things.
Yeah. Or ask questions in the comments.
Definitely,
We'll be glad to answer questions too. So
definitely, absolutely.
if I'm not
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, because I don't have a 529 for my daughter, I just go heavy in her custodial account.
For sure.
Because I know you got a lot of flexibility with that as well.
Yeah.
But I think with the 529, and I had to do some additional research. Like, say your kid go off to college, I think you could actually like use some of that money and like put it on like a house or something, like
Oh yeah.
somewhere for your
Definitely.
kid to stay. Because
Definitely.
I think you could do that, and then also, after 4 years of college, now you got a rental property,
Yeah.
and now you can sell that off.
Yeah,
additional
yeah,
income, you know?
for sure, for sure. So let me see. I was looking at like the cost of college
Hmm.
back in the 90s when we were born and when we were kids compared to the cost of college today. And that's one of those talking points. I actually had this conversation with my older sister recently. And just from the numbers I was looking at in 1994, 1995, apparently it costs about 65,000 to go to a public 4-year college. It costed about 110 to 120,000 to go to a private college. Now in 2025, those numbers are way higher than that. So
Hmm.
those are other reasons why I feel like people should be saving and investing for their kids. So with that being said, man, out of the people you know in our age range who have kids, do you feel like a lot of people are already saving and investing for their kids' futures, or is that something that they don't talk about?
Yeah. Uh, I think it depends on the arena that you surround yourself in. Like
For
with
sure.
a medical professional, what I notice is the education level that you're surrounded by. Most of the time, most more likely, those people are going to be more exposed to investing.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Some form
Right.
of fashion.
For sure.
But like a lot of the medical professionals I'm around, oh, people already like, grandma, granddad, they already
Yeah.
got stuff set up for people, even like the people that like myself that, we're first generation people, professional.
Exactly.
Like I notice a lot of people are, what can I do for my children? Because, people understand the struggle because it was a struggle to get to this point, man.
Right. Right.
A profession. So definitely around the people that I'm around, yes, I would say more for the general public. I still think investing is intimidating. For
Very.
I think a lot of people know they should be saving,
Right.
but unfortunately, like due to inflation, like we got to do more. We have to.
Exactly. Exactly. Saving is not enough. And I'm glad that you say that because we were sitting down talking to DJ yesterday.
Mhm.
I got him a financial literacy for teens book.
Mm.
And I was like, DJ, do you understand why this is important? Do you know why I got this for you? Not really, Dad. I'm like, well, what do you think of money? Like, what's your current idea of money? And he was like, well, I know I can just work, make me a little bit of money, and save it. And I was like, that's it. He's like, yeah, Dad, that's it. I said, that's not enough, son. I said, in actuality, you really have no clue about money. And it's not your fault, but that's why I'm trying to teach you. And I said, well, do you know the difference between saving and investing? He didn't really know the difference. And so I had to start talking to him about that and teaching him. And then after about 30 minutes of conversation, I asked him again, son, do you understand why I bought you this financial literacy for teens book? He's like, well, I can kind of start seeing why now, Dad. Because like you just said, saving alone is not going to cut it. Like I remember when I was working around 1920, I wanted to save $50,000. Well, I realized I wasn't making the kind of money that I would have liked to been making to just save $50,000. It's not easy to just save $50,000 when you don't even make 50,000 in a year at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, investing it takes it so much further. Would you like to elaborate on the difference between saving and investing and why they are both important?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. When we look at saving, like that is the bedrock of building your financial fortress. You know what I mean? So you definitely speaking more about on the adult side, you want to have something, some sort of emergency fund. You know, at least like I know $1,000 don't go as far as it used to, but try your best to at least get $1,000 because
Right.
you don't want a simple. I got a flat tire to sideline you, and now you at
Yeah,
the payday loan place, and
for sure.
you know what I mean. Like that's not what you want.
For sure.
But we have to understand too, even there's different levels to saving. You could save in just a regular bank account and get, 0.0001%, which is nothing.
Yeah.
You're losing to inflation, or you can get a high yield savings account. And then at least with those rates, they're a little bit better. Right now,
For sure.
3, 4% stuff like that on your money. So like that's not bad. But they'll probably come those rates probably come down as the Federal Reserve eventually start lowering rates.
For
But
sure.
also, man, what was it? Warren Buffett said um, compound interest is I think he said the eighth wonder of the world or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's the thing with investing, man.
Hmm.
You can put in 10,000 and then by the time your kid is, 65, 55, that may be 2, 3, 4 million. Like, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? So that's the difference in between the power of saving versus investing.
For sure. For sure. Most definitely, man. So what's another question that you have that you want to bring out to try to give some more insight?
Yeah, man. So what are some good ways that you think are for teaching your children about investing?
Well, I think it depends on what age they are.
Hmm.
Because we got a wide range. Like we got 5, 7, 16, and then about to be a newborn, in a month or so. But we actually started with all three of them by pulling up their E-Trade account, pulling up their custodial accounts, and letting them all see it.
Yeah.
And we told them, hey, like, this is not for you to go and brag to some other kids talking about, I got this amount of money or my
Mhm.
parents got. I said, this is not what that's for. We're showing y'all this so that y'all know at the age y'all are right now, you don't have to struggle. You don't have to be broke. You don't have to not be able to have $1,000 saved. You can save your money. You can invest your money. And we explain some things to them, and then we let them ask questions, man. And surprisingly, Melody and Harmony asked more questions than DJ. I think, at that stage of 16, sometimes you think you just too cool for the world.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
you think you know everything. So you probably intrigued by it, but you don't want to ask any questions. That's how he was. But
Yeah.
Melody was like, well, Dad, what does it mean when they say trade? What's the difference between buy and sell?
Yeah.
And then I was breaking it down. I was like, okay, so I talked about stocks, I talked about ETFs, and I just explained like, hey, a stock is a publicly owned or a portion of a publicly owned company that you have. And I said, if you got one share, that's like having one piece of candy. I
Mm.
said, well, if you got 10 shares, that's like having 10 pieces of candy. And then they was like, well, what kind of candy? I said, well, it could be Skittles. You got 10 Skittles. You know what I'm saying? And so I think, man, you have to try to put it into terms that they can understand. You have to try to make it interesting for them. And
Hmm.
then like I said with DJ at 16, not only do I talk to him, I also got him the Financial Literacy for Teens book. Now I did have to tell him like, hey, I'm gonna give you a few weeks to get this done. Every weekend you got to read one chapter. There's 9 chapters in the book. I said, so I'm gonna give you 9 weeks to read it. And I said, I'm really being generous because it's only like 115 pages. I
Yeah.
said, but you're gonna read one chapter every weekend or every week. You're gonna take notes on every chapter because that's how I'm gonna know that you're reading it. And those are two of the things that I'm doing right now, man. What are some ways that you feel like are great ways to try to start teaching our kids about saving and investing and just financial literacy as a whole?
So right now, like, my daughter, she's 8. So she still has a lot to learn, Uh,
Right.
she can look at a stock chart and tell me that it's up or down. A
That's
lot of people
amazing.
can't do that.
Yeah,
Like she
yeah,
already know green means up, red
yep,
means down.
yep,
That mean green you're making money, red you're losing money.
for sure.
Like basic, it's just basic, right? But I think as she get older, just like when she went to school, she had Jordans on, right?
Yeah,
So I want to show her that, hey, you see those Jordans you got on your feet? They're 100 and some dollars.
yeah,
Share Nike today, like if she understood this concept,
yeah,
it's kind of
yeah,
deep. If she understood this today, one share of Nike is like, I don't know, 50, 60, $70, right?
yeah, yeah.
So the stock is cheaper than the shoes on your feet.
Exactly,
Like you see what I'm saying?
exactly.
But I think also too something that, like the everyday products that people use, like my daughter got a iPhone, right? So
Yeah,
just showing her like, the iPhone costs, $1,000,
yeah,
but then you got Apple share is $200.
for sure.
And then I'll finish with this. And just getting to that point to where when she does have understanding of it, just show her like going back to the Nike example, right? It'll be nice to, I'll probably have to do it out of my account, but it'd be
Yeah,
nice to buy her, a new pair of Nikes and show her that, hey, I bought the Nike stock and the
for
dealer
sure,
paid for this
for sure.
because we're
Yeah,
part owners of Nike. Let's
yeah,
let's own what we consume,
exactly.
you know?
I think that's amazing, man. And to really put that into perspective for people, almost everything Paul just talked about, I didn't learn that stuff until last year at 30 years old. He's already teaching his daughter, and she's 8 years old. And because I've been, motivated by him and have learned a lot from him, I'm also teaching my kids some of the same things at 5, 7, and 16. So imagine, like, how old were you when you really first got into the stock market?
It was a little bit before grad school, so I was probably 20. I didn't start taking it serious in probably 25, maybe.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
So for you all out there listening, imagine things that we learned at 25 and 30. Imagine being able to teach your kids some of those things at 5 and 7 and 8. That's how we're going to set them up for their financial future. And honestly, I may be wrong for saying this, but I feel like get having the accounts set up for them and saving and investing for them, I think that's great. But I think what's far greater than that is giving them the knowledge of how to do it for themselves now at this stage, and then giving them the bonus of actually having something put back for them so that when they are 25 and 30, they still gonna work hard, they still gonna grind, they might still have some struggles in life, but it won't be some of the same struggles and obstacles we had to overcome. It won't be just getting in as an adult trying to learn things that we taught them as kids, man. So I just wanted to add that and give you kudos for that, man, because that's amazing.
Yeah, appreciate it. I
For
think
sure.
one thing I know it's more of a advanced concept, but as people like, listen to us more and get more advanced in their own investing and trading, even something like selling of options, right?
Yeah.
So, say you have 100 shares of Apple, for example, just making up something. Um, if you sell a call against your 100 shares, you get paid instantly.
Right.
So imagine you build up your child's account, you teach them how to sell options. Now they have enough money in there that exceeds most paychecks that you get every 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Like, what do you think that does to your child psychology when they see, like, wow, I'm working this job at, make up some Foot Locker. I make,
Yeah.
$500 every 2 weeks, but I just sold options on the Nike stock and
Yeah.
I just made 1,000.
Yeah.
Like, you know what
It's crazy, man. It's really next level when you put it like that,
I
man.
mean?
And even from the things I've seen, like for those out there, you know, and I shared this with Paul, he already knows this. I've been able to consistently make about $100 per day off of just trading call options or just doing call options. And there's so many advanced concepts that I don't understand yet. But
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I be greedy, so I might mess around and lose that 100. But I have seen it. Like I have seen even at my still beginner stage of doing options that I can make $100 a day. Now, if you put that in perspective, if you make $100 for 5 days in a row, that's $500. You know, well, once you get experience like my guy Paul, you might be doing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And now let me say this. Don't expect for it to happen overnight. Now.
Oh, it's
It
not.
takes time. And like he say, we all gotta pay our tuition.
Mhm.
That means you're gonna take some losses.
Yeah.
And I have taken some, but I've been able to show even my wife, like, baby, I made 300 today. I made 500 today. But then I've showed her some losses as well. But I'm like, baby, just be patient with me because eventually I'm gonna get to the point to where I'm winning more than I'm losing, and it's really gonna change our lives. So being able to do that and being able to teach that to the kids, it's gonna prevent them, like Paul said earlier, from going out to the street. It's gonna prevent them from feeling like they have to go clock in at Foot Locker or some factory or any job that they don't want to go to. Not saying those are bad
Yeah.
jobs, but if that's not what you really want to do, then it's not the job for you.
Exactly.
For sure, man. So let me see. I got another question for you. Is there like a particular amount of money that you would recommend for the average family to start saving or investing for their child? Is there like a particular amount per month, per every 3 months, or however you see it?
Yeah. I think it just depends on your financial situation.
For sure.
Like when I started my daughter's account, I was just doing, something I would not miss, right?
Right.
So at the time, like just coming out of grad school, getting my feet under me, $10 a week was something that I did not miss.
For sure.
So like, I was putting in just $10 a week.
For sure.
So it's really more like invest what you can, and not like now that number is significantly higher, but you know, start where you can.
Exactly.
You don't have to look at like a Warren Buffett and be like, man, how do I get to billions? Like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Just do what you can.
Yeah.
Just just put in a number that's not going to stress you out and that you won't miss.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great, man. I told my sister the same thing. Like my older sister, she has two little girls as well, and we were talking about some things, and I showed her. I think I might have showed her the E Trade. I showed her how to go on Yahoo Finance
Mhm.
and look at stocks and look at ETFs and look at some of the things that we look for when we're looking to invest into something. And she was like, "Well, you know, I'll eventually get started." And I was like, "Well, I don't want you to say eventually because I
Mhm.
said you potentially could start right now with as little as $25 per child. That's
Mhm.
$50 in a month's time. Now I know starting out with $50 in a month, that could be a lot for some people.
Yeah.
But I feel like most people, if you are working every day 9 to 5 and you're paying your bills and you're able to eat and you have money to go out and do things like go out to eat or buy Jordans, you definitely have $50 that you could put to the side in a month's time
Hmm.
in order to start that account for your kids, man.
Yep. No
Or
doubt.
25, and again, that's 25 per child for two children. But like Paul said, depends on how much money you're making. It depends on how much flexibility you have in your budget, and then also an amount that you won't miss. Because if you're struggling to put it there, it's going to be difficult for you to keep that up.
Hmm. Because that's what it's about. It's about time in.
Yeah, for
That's what
sure.
it's about.
For sure. Yeah. Time in the market,
Mhm.
not timing the market. I
Exactly.
saw a guy say that the other day, and he posted his account. This dude had $1 million in his options account, bro.
Yeah.
And all he said was time in the market, not timing the market. And I was
Hmm.
like, man, that's a game changer right
It
there.
is. It is. It is because like I keep even myself like I keep one account where it's like, all right, I don't, I buy stuff, I hold it, I just let it sit.
For
Then
sure.
on the other account, the one I show off on YouTube, like I'm trading in and out of stuff, but like I'm still doing the time in the market. Like that is
Yeah,
you can't get away from that.
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I agree with that. I
Hmm.
think I heard another guy say that we should be long-term investors first
Yes.
and then options traders, because he said he feel like a lot of people got it backwards. It's like a
Mhm.
lot of people just want to get into options right away, but they don't have any long-term investing. And don't get me wrong, when you see how much money you can start making trading options, I get it. You want to make the big bucks, you want to make the big bucks fast, but you still got to put that money somewhere safe in
Mhm.
that long-term investing hole and just let it ride, just let it build up, because that's that passive income. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to look at charts to figure out if it's going to do what you need it to do. It's going to move. So that's good, man.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
So you don't have to, definitely not looking for dollar amounts, but what type of companies are you invested in for your kids?
Man, all three of the kids got Walmart.
Hmm.
I like Walmart a lot. Walmart is not like Nvidia. They not just gonna pop, 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 pop. They not gonna do that. But Walmart is safe. It's what they call a blue chip stock or a blue chip company. It's one of the safest investments. And I think with the kids, I think their average cost for Walmart when I got in was between $75 and $80 per share.
Hmm.
Last week, Walmart was up to like $103 per share. You know, so that's anywhere from like 18 to about $38 that the kids have made just off of their Walmart shares alone. And then, you know, I like Nvidia a lot, man.
Yeah.
I like Nvidia because Nvidia gonna shake some, you know. But then above those, I like VTI a lot. The
Mhm.
VTI, and I know you know what VTI is, but for those of you out there who may not know, VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market Exchange Traded Fund.
Mhm.
Yearly, I want to say it brings about maybe like 8 to 14% return on your money. It's very safe. And like Paul taught me, with a single stock like Nvidia, or you know, an individual stock like an Nvidia or Walmart, if it goes down, it goes down. Well, if you're in that ETF like a VTI or something, Nvidia could go down or one individual stock could go down, but it doesn't mean your overall ETF is going to go down. So those are definitely three of my favorites, man. Do you have any favorite particular stocks or companies that you're invested in for your daughter and that you just like in general for yourself?
Yeah, yeah. So I got SPY. So
Okay,
SPY ETF, or it just tracks the S&P 500. So the
for
top five
sure.
companies, in America. QQQ
Oh yeah,
tracks technology, the NASDAQ. And then I got some individual stocks for like I had got Amazon at a very cheap price for her during the COVID crash we had in
for sure,
2020.
for
So
sure.
that had ran up big time. So what I did with that, I cut that, rolled those profits over into SoFi.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think SoFi banking is going to be, huge, here in the
yeah,
next
for
few
sure,
years.
for sure.
Yeah. Then I got some, like I said, not financial advice. It just, you know, this account is for long-term growth, right? So I got some things dealing with quantum computing in there.
Okay, yeah,
So I
yeah,
think me personally, not financial advice, I just want to put it on the record. I think as we go from I think the next wave is going to be quantum computing.
yeah,
So things that take computers, a year or two to solve, they're going to be solved instantly with that. And there's some companies already out there that working on this problem already and working
yeah,
making a solution for this problem. So I got her positioning some things like that.
for sure. That and I agree with you. I think that's gonna be the next wave as well. From listening to people and reading and just watching CNBC, I'm looking into that quantum computing as well. Now I do want to ask another question, and
Yeah.
this is maybe not necessarily for the kids, but are you invested in Bitcoin at all? Or what do you think about investing in Bitcoin?
Yes. So me personally, yes, I'm invested in Bitcoin. I don't really, talk cryptocurrency.
For sure.
I think I did one video on the IBIT ETF.
For
So it's
sure.
an ETF that the fund they buy Bitcoin, and so like as the price of Bitcoin goes up, the IBIT ETF goes up or down depending on if Bitcoin goes up and down.
For sure.
Kind of an indirect way if you don't feel comfortable buying Bitcoin itself. Because with cryptocurrency and stuff, man, it's a lot of little hoops. Like you need to buy it on the exchange, have a cold wallet that you got to have
Right.
20 character code and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Or if you don't want to deal with all that, you just buy something like an
For sure.
IBIT ETF. And so like I personally have the IBIT ETF. I personally got um Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, kind of like the
For
big
sure.
three.
For sure.
And
Okay. Yeah,
in
yeah,
my
yeah. That's
daughter's
what's
account, I got the IBIT ETF in there as well.
okay, for sure. That's what's up. Now I was being a little selfish for y'all out there listening. I was asking that question particularly for myself because I've been looking in Bitcoin as well. But let me see, man. Do you have any more questions or any more things that you want to talk about, you know, specifically for investing for the kids' futures?
Yeah. So my last question I got, like, I know you kind of asked me how much should you invest, but kind of similar question. What do you want to leave for your kids? Like is it what's your goal? Is it enough for like to pay for school, like
Right.
maybe like a car or to for them to get their first house or all of it, you know?
For sure, man. Definitely I want to say all of it because I almost look at it as why not leave enough for all of it, you know. But for DJ specifically, with him being 16 and being 21 5 years from now, I don't expect for him to have as much as the girls would have because they got more time for that account to grow. But I would like for him to have enough to be able to go to trade school because he doesn't want to go to college. I would like for him to have enough to be able to go to trade school, whether that's paying for it in full or getting him in the door and covering the first couple of years. I would like for it to be enough to get him into that first apartment or that first dorm or even that first investment property because that would be even better. And then I would say vehicle, but I feel like he'll already have one because I'm actually thinking about just giving him the Tahoe. You know, it's already paid for, and I already told him like, son, I'm not gonna buy you a brand new truck, but I give you this one. You know, but if you want to take that money 5 years from now and you want to go buy a brand new truck, if it's enough for that, go do it. And then for the girls, now even though we can transfer our educational benefits and even though we expect for them to apply for scholarships, I still want them to have enough money invested so that they can go to college, at least for those first couple of years, without having to come out of their pocket for a dime. And then again, car, definitely, why not? Probably not a brand new car, but something to get you around, something that's safe. And then to get you in your first apartment, dorm, investment property. But I would also like for them not to use all of it for those reasons. I would like for them to take it, put it in their own brokerage accounts or their own IRAs, and continue building on top of it from there.
Yeah.
For sure, man. So, and what about you? It's your question, but you know, what is the goal that you want to have enough for your daughter?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you gave a beautiful answer there, but yeah, pretty much try to set her up for, like, hey, if you don't want to, you don't have to work.
Right,
But you need to learn that it just depends. I just want to
right,
say that to, hey, you can choose where you want to take your life. You don't have to be, I have to do X, Y, Z to
exactly.
make ends meet. So that's my goal, is to be able to, like, hey, just have enough to, hey, she can get a nice down payment on a nice
Yeah,
house, or get a car that she wants. So similar things, but I'm definitely trying to focus on, as she get older, teach her some of the skills that I have. Cause I think,
right.
and my daughter, she's very, like, she's just very smart.
Yeah, for sure.
I like to think that her mom and I, that we're smart, but I think
You
my
know what though?
her
I, I
mindset
can I,
ain't.
I can I can see that because you and her mom were very smart in
Yeah,
school. So for her to have some of your genes and some of her mom's genes, I can see that. I can see that.
yeah.
Yeah. So as a follow-on question, do you feel like by saving and investing for our kids and leaving them, large amounts of money or large inheritances, do you feel like we're crippling them in any way? And the reason I ask that is because, some people say, I'm not giving my kids anything. I'm not saving my kids anything. If they want something, they got to go work for it. So do you feel like we're crippling them or are we setting them up for success?
Man, I feel like, personally, I feel like we're setting them up for success, because I feel like we should be handing down assets and not aggravation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because too often in our community, like, you don't really get anything when people pass. You don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you just feel like, oh man, I'm out in this world now and I gotta figure it out. Like, no, it don't have to be that way. There's,
Exactly.
like, it shouldn't, our culture should not be the only culture that feels that way.
Exactly.
So like,
Exactly.
you see it all the time with other cultures, like, like, people have head starts, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I've amassed what I have without a handout. So it's
Right.
like, you know, do I feel like it made me a better person, because I had to, get out the mud myself? Nah, I would have enjoyed a little a little extra. But hey, my parents, they did what they could do. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
They gave me a solid foundation to be the man I am. So
For
I know,
sure.
Mama, I know you might be watching it later on. I love you.
For
Appreciate
sure.
you.
Hey, you know what? I
Appreciate you,
appreciate the
Dad.
I appreciate the honesty though, man, because a lot of people say, "Nah, I wouldn't change a thing." I'd get it out the mud again if I come on, bro. Be
Nah,
real.
we ain't gotta do
If
all
I could have had something handed to me, yeah, I would have took it
that.
because it would have saved me some time. It would put me further ahead. So
Exactly.
I agree, man. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I think the most important part of that, man, is just teaching your kids how to keep the money flowing. Not
Yeah.
just, I think the issue becomes if it's like, okay, here, daughter, 100K.
Yeah.
Okay, now if I didn't teach her anything, she's just gonna blow it.
Exactly.
And then next thing you know, she's gonna turn around, look at how I'm living, and being like, well, Dad, you didn't, you know.
Yeah.
But at least now, when I hand her the money, and she that's also gonna come with the skills on how to make it keep growing.
Exactly.
If you blow it, it's on you.
Exactly. Exactly. And if I'm being honest, man, I want to say when our children, are 18, 21, when you go off to college, when you move out and get your place, I don't want you to have to call me every other week. Dad, can I borrow this?
Hmm.
Dad, can you go half of me on this down payment? Because my goal is for you to be in position to where you're gonna have great credit. You won't need to call dad for a down payment. You won't need to call dad to borrow something because you are already gonna have the knowledge and the skills, and you already gonna have that unfair advantage that we talking about.
Yeah.
So if that's my goal, that's the real goal. Giving you that advantage and putting you in that position to where you can get out my pockets when you get out my house. Now I ain't saying I'm gonna put you out right away. I want you to be
Yeah.
successful. But I don't want you to have to call me every week and borrow something. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I want to be more like, if my daughter called me like, hey dad, I'm thinking about getting this car. And the conversation should go, okay, yeah, pull up your account. Yeah,
Yeah,
look at Meta right now. You see how it's like trading at 200 moving average?
for sure.
Yeah, sell a put on that, or yeah, sell a put on that, collect $5,000. There you go.
For sure.
Like
For
that's what I
sure.
want the conversation to be.
For sure.
Not let
Yeah,
me cut
that
you a check.
I need to get to that level as well. But yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So hey, do you have any more questions, man, or anything that you want to touch on some more on how people can invest for their kids?
Man, honestly, I think we hit a lot of topics, man. Like I think if people really listen to it, hey, listen to it again. If you miss something, hey, listen to it again, ask us questions. But I think we hit a wide range of topics, and like really just the beginning with this. Like as you become more advanced in your skills as an investor and trader, you can do all those techniques in your kids' account. Now I say with the kids' accounts.
Yeah.
Um, be as safe as possible with them, you know. But the good thing is, usually if you start younger, you got more time. So like as you learn how to um, buy high quality individual stocks and high quality ETFs, do that. As you learn how to buy those 2-year leap options, at the best time on the charts, you could put those in your kids' account too, man.
Yeah.
So you could do
Yeah.
that. So like as you elevate in your knowledge and your skills, just transfer that to your kids' account.
Exactly. And that's a great way to wrap it up, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't have anything to follow with that. That's
yeah,
really a great way to wrap up this conversation.
yeah, man. Hey, did you prepare a verse, a Bible verse?
I have two in mind. Do you have?
I got
Okay,
one.
yeah,
I got
yeah,
one.
yeah. Hey, you go ahead. You come on with
Okay,
it first.
okay, okay. So I got one from Proverbs 21:5. The plan of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Say that again.
All right. The plan of the diligent leads to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Hmm.
And so I would like to expand on that one. Like that one, that in Proverbs hit me hard because, I mentioned our culture, right? A lot of us in our culture did not have a head start. So
Yep.
when we long term investing is not in our DNA,
Hmm.
right? Because money has been so scarce to us, right?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
the second part, when you're talking about haste leads to poverty.
Hmm.
Too often we want to get the quick flip, because we
Hmm.
never had, right?
Hmm.
Often. But it says the diligent leads to profit. So all this stuff we're talking about is mainly long-term investment for our children,
Yeah.
and that should lead to profit.
Man, I want to touch on something you said. You said that I agree with everything. You said that we're so used to the money being scarce. And it just made me think of something that I had this conversation with my grandmother. I think that we have been hundreds of years behind,
Mhm.
and we may still be hundreds of years behind because there was a time when other races were profiting and building and becoming millionaires, and we didn't have those same opportunities.
Mhm.
And that's a conversation for another time. But I told my grandma, I said, Grandma, the way I see it, your parent, my grandma is 67, 68, maybe 70. I said, Grandma, you grew up farming and growing food. I said, so your parents were sharecroppers, and their parents were maybe first generation out of slavery, maybe second generation out of slavery. So the way I look at it is, if you go from, and that we got people out there that say, oh, African Americans were never slaves, there's no way possible millions of people could have been. I do believe there were some African Americans already here in America. I've done a lot of research.
I think so too.
But that's another conversation for another time. I think some of us were already here. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but I think some of our ancestors were in fact brought on ships and did in fact serve in chattel slavery. There's too many documentaries and too much proof out there.
Hmm.
But I said, Grandma, when you go from slavery, to sharecropping, and then after sharecropping, you go into, working and trying to build something, then you deal with Jim Crow, then you deal with redlining. It was hard to get ahead.
Hmm.
It's not as hard today as it was back then. In fact, when we look at things they had to go through back then, I can't say it's hard today at all. Now it's hard in some ways, but not in those ways. And so I think, man, we didn't have those same opportunities back then, and we were just behind by 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. But now I think that conversation is slowly starting to change. That was a great scripture to bring out, man.
Hmm.
One of my scriptures, I didn't write it down because this is one that we talk about quite frequently, and it's really one of my favorites. And it's Proverbs 13 and 22. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And that's what we're talking about. And yes, we know an inheritance is something that's passed down when somebody dies. We're not talking about dying right now, but we're still talking about leaving that inheritance for them when that time comes, and then leaving them with those assets like you talked about, and not aggravations. So that's one that I always go to, man, when it comes down to saving and investing and just making wise decisions with your money.
I like it. I like it. That's one of my favorite ones too, man.
For sure. Do you have another one?
Um, let's see, let's see. I think that's the I think that's the main one I had. I had two. Let me see if I can find it. Um, oh yeah, here we go. Um, another Proverbs 3, 9 through 10. So honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. So, just keep the most high in everything you do, man.
Yeah.
Like everything, I feel like I personally live a life of abundance, man, and
Yeah.
just keeping the most high at the forefront of all that, man, just you know, just hey, just been good to me. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree with that, man. The other one I have, I didn't write it down, forgive me for that, but it's in Ecclesiastes. I can't quote the exact chapter and verse right now, but it basically says, invest in many things because you know not what may come upon the earth, or invest in seven, ventures, yet eight, for you know what not will come upon the earth. Basically, we don't know what investments are going to turn sour.
hmm.
Like we talked about, there are some risks with investing, but guess what? There's risk when you walk outside on your front porch.
Yeah.
There's risk when you go to the gas station.
Hmm.
So, don't be afraid to try to save and invest, because you have to invest in multiple things in order to create that wealth and create those assets that you want to pass down. So those are my top two. And there are so many more scriptures, man. I was talking to Coach Barker recently.
Hmm.
there are so many scriptures on financial literacy and financial wisdom in the Bible that oftentimes, we may just overlook, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff in there.
yeah, it'll make you rich if you really read and you take those principles to heart. It'll make you some money.
For sure. Definitely, definitely. Well, hey man, I think like you said, I think we covered a lot. This may not be the first time, this may not be the last time that we talk about investing for the kids. We gave you some scriptures like always, man. And I just wanted to say once again, we appreciate you and the family coming down to the baby shower a few weeks back. We appreciate all the gifts and all the love, man. We really appreciate everything.
Man, hey, just congratulations, man, and we appreciate y'all, man, for inviting us, man.
For sure, for
Great
sure,
time.
for sure, for sure. Well, listen, we appreciate y'all for listening and watching. Like my guy said, leave us some comments, ask us some questions, give us feedback if you want. Tell
Mhm.
us how we could do better. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Is there anything we need to elaborate on, man? And I don't have anything else to say at this time. I want to give it back to Paul so he can wrap this thing up.
Yeah, man. So, hey, just thank you everybody for tuning in, man, and hey, we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.